My name is Philip Andrews, though everyone has always called me Phil. I am 60 years old, and I am currently living in a shared room above a noodle shop in Chiang Mai, Thailand, sleeping on a thin mattress on a concrete floor, sharing a bathroom with 3 other men who are just as broken and desperate as I am. 8 months ago, I owned a 3-bedroom semi-detached house in Birmingham, England, a house I had paid off over 30 years, a house worth £240,000. I had a pension from my decades working as a heating engineer, savings in the bank, and a plan for a peaceful retirement in northern Thailand with a woman I thought loved me. Now I have nothing. The house is gone, sold at my girlfriend's urging so we could buy land and build our dream home together in Chiang Rai. The money is gone too, £260,000, transferred to her over 6 months for down payments, legal fees, construction costs, and family emergencies that never quite made sense but always seemed urgent. And the woman herself, Fichaman Sangsiri, the 32-year-old language school receptionist who called me her soulmate and promised to build a family with me, is gone as well, vanished completely. Every social media account deleted, every phone number disconnected, every trace of her existence wiped away, as if she had never been real at all. Her name was Fichaman, but she told me to call her June. She said it was easier for foreigners to pronounce, and she liked the sound of it. We met on a dating app for expats in northern Thailand in January of 2023. I had been in Chiang Mai for 3 months, living in a cheap guest house, trying to figure out what my life was supposed to look like now that I was retired and alone. June's profile was different from the others. I had seen no bikini photos, no suggestive poses, just a simple headshot of a woman with a warm smile and kind eyes. Her bio said she worked as a receptionist at a language school, that she was studying for her university degree, that she was looking for a genuine connection with someone mature and stable. I messaged her, expecting nothing, but she replied within an hour, and we started talking. She was articulate, thoughtful, and genuinely interested in my life. She asked about my work, my family, my reasons for coming to Thailand. She told me about her dreams of finishing her degree, of helping her parents in their village, of finding a man who would treat her with respect and build a proper life with her. She said she was tired of Thai men who only wanted to play around, and she was looking for someone serious, someone ready for commitment. We talked for 2 weeks before we met in person. When I finally saw her at a small cafe near the old city, I was struck by how normal she seemed. No heavy makeup, no flashy clothes, just a simple dress and a genuine smile. She was beautiful in an understated way, and she made me feel comfortable immediately. We talked for 3 hours that first day, and by the time we said goodbye, I was already falling for her. Over the next 6 months, June became the center of my world. She was affectionate, attentive, and seemingly devoted to building a future with me. She introduced me to her parents, or people she said were her parents in a village near Chiang Rai. She showed me land that she said would be perfect for building our house. She talked about marriage, about children, about growing old together in the mountains of northern Thailand. She made me feel like my life still had meaning, like I was still capable of being a husband and a father, like the years ahead could be filled with love and purpose rather than loneliness and regret. So when she said we needed money to buy the land, to pay for legal fees, to cover construction costs, I did not hesitate. I sold my house in Birmingham, the house where I had lived for 32 years, the house where I had raised my children, the house that represented everything I had worked for. I transferred £260,000 to June over 6 months, believing every word she said, trusting every document she showed me, convinced that we were building something real. And then one day in July, I went to visit the land in Chiang Rai. The address June had given me did not exist. The village locals had never heard of anyone named Fichaman or June. And when I tried to call her, her phone was disconnected. When I checked the bank account where I had transferred the money, the balance was 0. This is the story of how I lost everything. This is the story of how a 60-year-old heating engineer from Birmingham became homeless in a foreign country because he was so desperate to be loved that he ignored every warning sign, dismissed every red flag, and sold his entire life for a lie. I was born in Birmingham in 1963, the middle child of 5 in a working-class family. My father worked at a car factory, my mother stayed home to raise us, and we lived in a council estate in Erdington. Money was always tight, but we got by. I left school at 16 and became an apprentice heating engineer, learning the trade through a local plumbing firm. It was hard work crawling through attics, working in freezing conditions, dealing with burst pipes and broken boilers, but it was steady, reliable employment. When I was 25, I married a woman named Linda. We had met at a pub, and she was a shop assistant at Debenhams. We had 2 children, a son named Michael and a daughter named Claire. We bought a small, semi-detached house in Erdington with a mortgage that would take us 30 years to pay off. The marriage was fine at first, but it slowly deteriorated over the years. Linda and I grew apart. We stopped talking about anything meaningful. We became strangers living under the same roof. When I was 43, Linda told me she wanted a divorce. She had met someone else at work, and she wanted a fresh start. The divorce was messy and expensive. Linda got the house, I got the debt, and I moved into a flat in Handsworth. My relationship with my kids suffered. Michael was 15 and angry. Claire was 12 and confused. They stayed with Linda, and I saw them on weekends for a while, but gradually those visits became less frequent until they stopped altogether. After the divorce, I threw myself into work. I was good at my job, and I built a solid reputation as a reliable heating engineer. When I was 50, I saved enough money to buy a small, semi-detached house in Yardley, nothing fancy, but it was mine. I worked long hours, saved what I could, and tried not to think about how lonely I was. By the time I reached 60, I was exhausted. My knees hurt, my back hurt, and I was tired of crawling through attics in the middle of winter. I had enough money to take early retirement. My pension would give me around £1,200 a month, and I had about £20,000 in savings. Combined with the equity in my house, which was worth around £240,000, I had enough to retire comfortably. But I was lonely, desperately lonely. Michael was 35, living in London, working in finance, and we barely spoke. Claire was 32, living in Manchester with her husband and 2 kids, and she called me maybe twice a year. I had no friends to speak of, no social life, no hobbies that gave me joy. I would come home to an empty house every night, heat up a ready meal, watch television, and go to bed. I felt invisible, forgotten, like my life was already over, even though I was still breathing. That was when I started researching places to retire abroad. I had always dreamed of traveling, but I had never had the money or the time. Now I had both, and I needed to get away from Birmingham, away from the cold and the rain and the overwhelming sense that I had wasted my life. Thailand kept appearing in my searches: warm weather, low cost of living, friendly people. I watched videos of British expats living in Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai, and they all seemed content, relaxed, surrounded by warmth and kindness. In October of 2022, I made my decision. I would move to Thailand for a trial period, see if I liked it, and maybe, just maybe, I would find some companionship, some purpose, some reason to feel like my life still mattered. I did not sell my house immediately. I rented it out to cover the mortgage, took £20,000 from my savings, and booked a one-way ticket to Bangkok. I arrived in Thailand in November of 2022. I spent a few days in Bangkok, overwhelmed by the noise and chaos, then took a bus to Chiang Mai. I found a cheap guest house near the old city that cost 6,000 baht per month, about £140, and I started exploring. Chiang Mai was beautiful ancient temples, mountains in the distance, a relaxed pace of life. It was everything Birmingham was not, but I was still lonely. I would walk through the streets, eat at cheap restaurants, and sit in cafes watching other people talk and laugh, and I felt like I was watching life through a window rather than actually living it. I needed connection. I needed someone to talk to, someone to share my days with, someone who made me feel like I mattered. In January of 2023, I downloaded a dating app specifically for expats and Thai women. I was skeptical, assuming it would be full of scammers and women looking for money. But I created a profile anyway, uploaded a photo of myself, and wrote a brief bio explaining that I was a retired heating engineer from England looking for genuine companionship. Within a few days, I received a message from a woman named Fitchaman. Her profile photo showed a pretty woman with a warm smile. Her bio said she was 32, worked as a receptionist at a language school in Chiang Mai, and was looking for a serious relationship with a mature, respectful man. Her first message was simple. "Hello, Phil. I read your profile and you seem like a very kind person. I hope we can talk and become friends." I replied, and we started talking. June, she told me to call her that from the beginning, was warm, articulate, and genuinely interested in my life. She asked about my work, my family, why I had come to Thailand. She told me about her life growing up in a small village near Chiang Rai, moving to Chiang Mai to work and study, sending money home to help her parents. She said she had been in relationships with Thai men before, but they had always disappointed her, cheating, lying, treating her badly. She said she wanted someone mature, someone stable, someone who would value her. We talked every day for 2 weeks before we met in person. June suggested we meet at a small cafe near Tha Pei Gate. I was nervous, but when I saw her, I felt an immediate sense of calm. She looked exactly like her photos, no catfishing, no surprises. She was petite, maybe 5 feet 2 inches tall, with long black hair and a gentle demeanor. She wore a simple floral dress and carried a small handbag. She looked like a normal, respectable woman, nothing like the bar girls I had been warned about. We talked for 3 hours. June told me more about her work at the language school, about her studies toward a business degree at Chiang Mai University, about her dreams of opening her own small business someday. She asked about my life in England, about my children, about what I hoped to find in Thailand. I told her I was looking for peace, for companionship, for someone to share my life with. June smiled and said, "I think you are a very good man, Phil. I think maybe we can help each other find happiness." By the end of that first meeting, I was already falling for her. Over the next few weeks, June and I saw each other almost every day. She would finish work at the language school at 5 o'clock, and we would meet for dinner at small Thai restaurants around the old city. She never asked me to pay for expensive meals or to take her to fancy places. She seemed perfectly happy, eating pad thai at street stalls or sitting at cheap noodle shops. She was easy to be with, comfortable in her own skin, and she made me feel valued in ways I had not felt in years. After about a month, June said she wanted me to meet her parents. She said they lived in a village near Chiang Rai, about 3 hours north of Chiang Mai, and that it was important to her that they approved of me. I was nervous, but also flattered. Meeting the parents felt like a significant step, a sign that June saw a real future with me. We took a bus to Chiang Rai, and then a songthae, a shared pickup truck taxi to June's village. The village was small and rural, with wooden houses on stilts, rice fields stretching out in every direction, and chickens and dogs wandering freely. June's parents' house was modest but well-maintained. Her mother, a small, weathered woman in her 60s, greeted us warmly. Her father, a quiet man with a weathered face and calloused hands, shook my hand firmly. We sat on the floor around a low table, and June's mother served us food, grilled fish, somtam, sticky rice. June translated as her parents asked me questions about England, about my work, about my intentions with their daughter. I told them I cared deeply about June, that I wanted to build a life with her, that I would treat her with respect and take care of her. June's mother smiled and said something in Thai that June translated as, "She says you have a good heart. She says our family will be happy if you and June are together." I felt proud and hopeful. I had been welcomed into June's family. This was real. This was genuine. This was not some transactional relationship or scam. This was love. After lunch, June took me for a walk around the village. She showed me a plot of empty land at the edge of the village, maybe half an acre, surrounded by rice fields and trees. She said this land had belonged to her grandmother, who had passed away a few years earlier. She said her family wanted to sell it, but June had always dreamed of building a house there someday, a small, simple house where she could raise a family and be close to her parents. "Phil," she said, looking up at me with those warm, hopeful eyes, do you think maybe we could build a house here, together? I know it is a big dream. I know it is expensive. But if we save money, if we work together, maybe we can do it. Maybe we can have real life here, you and me." I felt a surge of emotion. This was everything I had hoped for: a home, a partner, a purpose. I told June I thought it was a wonderful idea, that we should start planning, that I would help make her dream come true. June hugged me tightly, tears in her eyes. "You are best man I ever meet, Phil. I am so lucky to find you." Call to action. If you're watching this and thinking, Phil should have seen this coming, I want you to understand something. June wasn't a bar girl. She wasn't uneducated or obviously manipulative. She was exactly the kind of woman every expat thinks they want to meet. Educated, family-oriented, modest, and genuine. Subscribe to this channel and share this video to help protect others from the sophisticated scams that don't look like scams at all. Phil's story is about to spiral into complete devastation, and you need to see how easily trust can destroy everything. After we returned to Chiang Mai, June and I started seriously talking about building the house. June said the land was worth around 800,000 baht, about 18,000 pounds, and that we could build a modest 2-bedroom house for another 1 million baht, about 23,000 pounds. In total, we would need around 41,000 pounds to make the dream a reality. I had 20,000 pounds in savings, and my house in Birmingham was rented out, bringing in around 800 pounds per month after the mortgage was paid. But June said we needed to move quickly. She said another family in the village was interested in buying the land, and if we did not secure it soon, we would lose the opportunity. She said we needed to pay a deposit of 200,000 baht, about 4,600 pounds, to hold the land while we arranged the rest of the financing. I withdrew 5,000 pounds from my savings and transferred it to June's Thai bank account. June said she would handle the paperwork with her family and the local authorities. A few days later, she showed me documents all in Thai, which I could not read, that she said confirmed the deposit had been paid and the land was being held for us. Over the next few weeks, June started talking more about the practicalities of building the house. She said there were legal fees, surveyor costs, permit fees, all the usual expenses that come with property development. Each time, she would show me documents and receipts, and each time I would transfer money. 500 pounds here, 1,000 pounds there, 2,000 pounds for an architect to draw up plans. By the end of March, I had transferred around 15,000 pounds to June. My savings were nearly depleted, but June assured me it was all part of the process, that building in Thailand required upfront payments, that everything was progressing smoothly. But then June came to me with a problem. She said the land could not be registered in my name because Thai law prohibited foreigners from owning land. She said the only way to proceed was to register the land in her name, but she wanted to make sure I was comfortable with that. She said we could create a legal agreement that would protect my financial contribution, but ultimately, Thai law required the land to be in a Thai citizen's name. I was hesitant. Everything I had read online warned against putting property in a Thai girlfriend's name. But June was not just my girlfriend. She was my partner, the woman I was planning to spend the rest of my life with. She had introduced me to her family. We were building a house together. I trusted her. I told June I was comfortable with the land being in her name as long as we had proper legal documentation. June said she would arrange everything with a lawyer, and she showed me more documents, purchase agreements, land transfer papers, all in Thai. I signed where she told me to sign, trusting that everything was legitimate. By May of 2023, my savings were completely depleted. I had transferred nearly all of my liquid cash to June, and we were only halfway through the construction process. June said we needed another 30,000 pounds to finish the house, to pay for construction materials, labor costs, and interior furnishings. I did not have 30,000 pounds, but I did have my house in Birmingham. June and I talked about it seriously. She said if we sold my house in England, we could finish building our house in Thailand, and we would own it outright with no debt. She said it made sense. I was not going back to England. I was making Thailand my permanent home, and the house in Birmingham was just sitting there generating minimal rental income. She said if we sold it, we could use the money to complete our house, and we would still have enough left over to live comfortably for years. I called Claire, my daughter, to talk about it. I told her I was thinking of selling the house to invest in property in Thailand with my girlfriend. Claire was immediately concerned. "Dad, you barely know this woman," she said. "You have been with her for what, 4 months? And you are already putting property in her name?" "It is not like that," I said. "We are building a life together. I have met her family. This is real. Dad, please be careful. You are putting everything you have into this. What if it does not work out? What if she is not who you think she is? She is genuine, Claire. I know you are worried, but I know what I am doing." Claire sighed. "Okay, Dad, but please, just be careful. Do not give her everything until you are absolutely sure." I thanked Claire for her concern, but I had already made up my mind. I contacted an estate agent in Birmingham and put the house on the market. It sold within 3 weeks for 240,000 pounds. After paying off the remaining mortgage and agent fees, I walked away with 232,000 pounds. I transferred the money to my UK bank account, then began transferring it in installments to June's Thai bank account. June said we needed to be careful about large international transfers to avoid attracting attention from tax authorities. So we did it in chunks: £20,000, then £30,000, then £40,000, spread out over 3 months. By the end of July, I had transferred £260,000 to June. Everything I had. Everything I had worked for over 40 years. My house, my savings, my entire financial security, all of it was now in June's hands. June assured me that construction was progressing well. She showed me photos on her phone, photos of foundations being poured, walls being built, a roof being constructed. She said we would be able to move into the house by October, that our dream was finally becoming reality. I felt proud, excited, hopeful. I had done it. I had built something meaningful with the woman I loved. I had created a future for us in Thailand. In early August, I told June I wanted to visit the construction site. I had not been back to the village since that first visit in February, and I was eager to see the progress on our house. June seemed hesitant. She said the construction was at a messy stage, that it was not safe for me to be walking around the site, that we should wait until it was closer to completion. But I insisted. I had invested everything I had into this project, and I wanted to see it with my own eyes. June finally agreed, and we made plans to visit the village the following weekend. But then, on Friday evening, June sent me a message saying she had a family emergency. Her father was sick, she said, and she needed to go to the village immediately. She said I should stay in Chiang Mai, that she would take care of her father and update me, that we could visit the construction site the following week instead. I was disappointed but understanding. Family emergencies happen. I told June to take care of her father and to let me know if she needed anything. But something felt off. June's messages over the next few days were brief and vague. She said her father was recovering, that she was helping her mother, that she would be back in Chiang Mai soon. But she did not send photos. She did not call. And when I tried to call her, she did not answer, texting back that she was too busy to talk. By Tuesday, I was worried. I decided to go to the village myself to check on June and to see the house. I took a bus to Chiang Rai, then hired a taxi to take me to the village. I gave the driver the address. June had given me the address of her parents' house. We drove for about an hour on increasingly rural roads, eventually turning onto a dirt track that led into a small village. But when we arrived at the address, there was no house, just an empty field. I checked the address again. This was definitely the place June had written down. But there was nothing here, no house, no construction, nothing. I got out of the taxi and approached a group of elderly villagers sitting under a tree. I showed them a photo of June on my phone and asked, in broken English and hand gestures, if they knew her or her family. They looked at the photo, talked among themselves in Thai, and shook their heads. No one recognized her. No one had heard of anyone named Fichamon or June. I felt a cold wave of panic wash over me. I got back in the taxi and asked the driver to take me to the land where June and I were supposed to be building our house, the land she had shown me back in February. We drove around the village for 20 minutes, but I could not find it. Nothing looked familiar. I could not remember exactly where it was, and the driver did not know what I was looking for. I tried calling June. Her phone went straight to voicemail. I sent her messages online, on Facebook, on WhatsApp. None of them delivered. I checked her Facebook page. It had been deleted. I sat in the back of the taxi, staring at my phone, trying to understand what was happening. This could not be real. This could not be happening. June was my girlfriend. We were building a house together. I had met her parents. I had seen the land. This had to be some kind of mistake. But deep down, I already knew the truth. I returned to Chiang Mai that evening, numb and devastated. I went straight to the language school where June said she worked. I showed the receptionist June's photo and asked if she worked there. The receptionist looked at the photo and shook her head. No one like this work here. Maybe you have wrong school? I checked 3 other language schools in the area. None of them had ever heard of Fichamon or June. I went to my guest house and checked my UK bank account. Empty. I checked the records of all the transfers I had made to June's Thai bank account. Over £260,000, transferred in installments over 6 months. I tried to find June online. Every social media account was gone. Facebook, Instagram, Line. Her phone number was disconnected. There was no trace of her. I sat on the floor of my guest house room, my head in my hands, unable to breathe. I had lost everything. My house, my savings, my entire life. And the woman I thought loved me had never existed at all. The next morning, I went to the Chiang Mai police station. I brought printouts of all the bank transfers, screenshots of our conversations, photos of us together. I sat across from a bored-looking officer and tried to explain what had happened. "This is civil matter, not criminal," the officer said in broken English. "You give her money. You sign papers. Everything voluntary. Police cannot help. You need lawyer." "But she lied to me," I said, my voice shaking. "She took my money and disappeared. She never built any house. Her parents were fake. Everything was fake." The officer shrugged. "Many Farang have same problem. Thai women very clever. You should be more careful. But police cannot help. This, your mistake." I left the station and went to a lawyer's office. The lawyer, a Thai woman who spoke good English, reviewed my documents and shook her head. "I am very sorry, Mr. Andrews, but there is nothing we can do. You voluntarily transferred money to her. The land was never registered in your name. You have no legal claim to any property. The money is gone." "But she defrauded me," I said. "She lied about everything. Can you prove she lied? Do you have documents showing she promised to build a house and did not? Do you have a contract?" "I have the papers she gave me. They are all in Thai. I do not know what they say." The lawyer looked at the papers and sighed. "These are just receipts. They do not prove anything. Without a contract or clear evidence of fraud, there is no legal case." I left the lawyer's office feeling completely destroyed. I tried calling Michael and Claire to tell them what had happened. Michael answered, and when I explained, there was a long, angry silence. "Dad, you sold the house?" he said finally, his voice rising. "You sold the bloody house and gave all the money to some woman you met on the internet? Are you out of your mind?" "I thought she loved me," I said, my voice breaking. "She didn't love you, Dad. She was scamming you, and now you have nothing. What are you going to do now?" "I do not know. I was hoping maybe you could help me. Maybe send some money so I can—" "No, Dad, absolutely not. You made this mess. You ignored everyone's advice. You threw your life away for some fantasy. I am not bailing you out. You are on your own." Michael hung up. Claire did not even answer my call. She sent me a text message. "Dad, I can't believe you did this. I don't have money to send you. You're going to have to figure this out yourself." I had no one to turn to. No family willing to help. No friends. No safety net. I am now 60 years old, living in a shared room above a noodle shop in Chiang Mai, surviving on my British state pension of £170 per week. The room costs 4,000 baht per month, about 93 pounds, and after rent and basic food, I have almost nothing left. I share the room with 3 other men, 2 British expats and 1 Australian, all of whom have similar stories of losing everything to Thai women. We sleep on thin mattresses on the floor, share a single bathroom with a squat toilet and a cold water shower, and try to help each other survive. I spend my days walking around Chiang Mai, sitting in parks, eating cheap street food. I have no purpose, no dreams, no hope. I simply exist, moving through each day with the quiet knowledge that I destroyed my own life. Over the months since June disappeared, I have learned more about how common this scam is. I have talked to other expats who have been through similar experiences. June was not a random opportunist. She was a professional. The parents I met were actors. The village was real, but June had no connection to it. The land she showed me probably belonged to someone else. The construction photos were likely from other projects or completely fabricated. Every document she showed me, every receipt, every piece of paper, was part of an elaborate deception designed to extract as much money from me as possible before disappearing. And it worked. She got £260,000 from me, more than most scammers could ever hope to get from a single victim. I now try to warn other expats about what happened to me. I post in Facebook groups, talk to newcomers in Chiang Mai, share my story with anyone who will listen. But I know most people will not take my warning seriously. They think they are smarter, more careful, that their girlfriend is different. I thought the same thing. June was educated, professional, family-oriented. She was everything I wanted, and she destroyed me. My name is Philip Andrews, and I lost £260,000, everything I had, to a woman who convinced me to sell my house so we could build a dream home together in Thailand. That home never existed. The land never existed. The family never existed. Everything was a carefully constructed lie designed to separate me from my life savings. I did not lose my house to bad luck or poor judgment. I sold it for a lie. I sold it because I was so desperate to be loved, so desperate to believe that someone could want me, that I ignored every warning sign and every red flag. I sit in my shared room above the noodle shop now, listening to the sounds of the city below, and I think about the house in Birmingham that I owned for 32 years. I think about the life I had, modest, unremarkable, but stable and secure. I threw it all away for a woman who was never real. This is my life now. This is my future. And every morning when I wake up on that thin mattress, I am reminded of exactly how much it cost to believe that someone could love me. I didn't lose my house. I sold it for a lie. And now I'm homeless in a foreign country, with no one to blame but myself. Phil's story is a devastating reminder that the most dangerous scammers are the ones who don't look like scammers. The educated, modest, family-oriented women who seem like everything you've been told to look for. If this documentary has opened your eyes to how sophisticated these operations can be, please subscribe and share this video. These stories need to be told because predators like June are still out there, still targeting vulnerable people, still destroying lives with precision and patience. Stay vigilant, never sell your assets for a relationship, and remember, real love never requires you to give up everything to prove your commitment. Thank you for watching, and please, stay safe.